So what I wanted to do today is just kind of go over with, uh, I want to go over some of the ascension symptoms that we are feeling and experiencing on a very random basis at any given time. And with the full moon eclipse, Mercury going retrograde, we're coming up on Mercury going direct on the 22nd, right around the time of the fall equinox. There is so much going on an energetic level that we can't see, and we don't really have any point of reference for except as how we feel. A lot of these energies are coming in to raise the vibration of the earth and of each of us. And the process of becoming less dense as we vibrate higher and higher can make it feel pretty darn uncomfortable on the physical body. And a lot of the experiences that through the rewiring and the downloading that we're experiencing in our dream time stages on a physical level, we are experiencing a lot of extreme fatigue, nausea, allergies seem to be more intense. You feeling hot sweats or power surges, feeling a lot of instability, insecurity, and anxiety. And if these emotions and energies feel like they're coming in waves, they actually are. So when it happens, just breathe through it. Know that it is coming to be and passing away and not that which abides. The best thing that you can do is to get lots of sleep, rest as much as you can, and get into some quiet time. That's really, really important. Away from the TV, away from music, just the sounds of nature, if nothing else. But that quiet time is really, really important. And we have just forgotten to remember sometimes how important that time is. So hopefully you're not having a lot of the symptoms, and if you are, that they are very, very short-lived. But remember that we are ascending, and that means basically that we're going into higher and higher vibrations of consciousness. And as we go into the higher vibrations, we become less dense. There is a density to the third dimension that, with the duality and everything, that was very necessary for our survival. But now that we are ascending out of this dimension into the higher realms, our bodies need to lose the density to be able to experience and function in the higher energies. At this time, with everything that is going on, one of the most important things that you can do is be in your truth. Being in your truth is actually your strength. Knowing what you believe, knowing what thoughts are yours, what choices are yours that you're making, taking responsibility. This all creates your truth, and as a result, it is a strength that will never fail you, actually. And if you look at what's going on in the outside world, you have to understand that the powers that be do not want peace. They don't want the calm and the love and the kindness and the consideration and the compassion and the empathy. Those energies do not feed them. Their food source is fear. And for eons, that has been their area of expertise, is knowing how to generate and maintain fear of the masses, because the energy of fear becomes a food source to them. So they're trying everything in their power and then some to maintain the level of chaos and violence and destruction that's out there, because the light is getting stronger and stronger, and people are coming more and more into love, into compassion, into the kindness. We are finally seeing, for the first time in a long, long time, more and more stories about human kindness, about compassion, about what we're doing for each other instead of the inhumanity we're perpetrating against each other. Pay attention to the love. Pay attention to the good stories, to the stories about human kindness, not only on TV or the internet, but in your own world. Look around you and see how it is becoming more and more prevalent. Shifting the crystal away from the violence and the negativity to the peace and to the positive of what humanity is capable of is going to make your journey so very much easier. And the bottom line is that no matter what tool, technique, gift any person brings, any healer brings in with them, the power behind it all is unconditional love. Love of another being, wanting to see their health and healing and see them be the best that they can be. And that's what we need to begin to see more of in each other and perpetrate. We've got to feed the positive. Okay, we're all going to have crappy things happen in our lives, and we're going to have disappointments and disasters and chaos and loss. And all of those things are part of living life. It's how we experience them that dictates the joy of our journey, so to speak. You know, we are eternal beings. This is not just a one-time shot. You know, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And all we ever do is visit the physical realm. We're always in spirit. We know each other. We have our own families. We have our soul groups. This is not new information. If it's the first time you've heard it, it's certainly not the first time you have felt it. And those feelings are more real than what you think you're seeing with your physical eyes. You know, things can be distorted and changed, and what you see is not always what is there. So keep shifting the crystal. Keep looking at the world that you live in, looking at the experiences that are presented to you from a different perspective. That is absolutely the most important thing that you can do. Get out of judgment. Come into compassion. Come into forgiveness. And remember, it's all about self. You can't judge somebody else without judging yourself first. And believe me, you're going to judge yourself 10 times worse than any other being on the planet could ever judge you, just simply because of our conditioning and programming. We are so locked into the beliefs that we're not good enough, that we're unworthy, that we're less than, that we're not. And it just isn't so. We are already masters. We have already been given the gift to be here. There's nothing that we have to earn. We just have to wake up and pay attention and see what we have been given, whether it be this beautiful, incredible planet, the people on it, or the gifts that we bring in. How are you seeing your life? How are you seeing your world? How are you perceiving your experiences? Everything just is. It is our judgment of it that makes it good or bad or right or wrong. And this is where we have to become conscious. We have to become aware of what we're doing and why we're doing it. Why is it so necessary to judge someone else? Why is it so necessary in our consciousness to make somebody else wrong or bad or less than? Do you really think that judging them to be less than you makes you better? It doesn't. Your thoughts and your beliefs about who you are and changing them are the only thing that's going to change that. You know, misery loves company. That's just a statement that we have accepted as truth because everybody seems to be miserable. And everybody's miserable because nobody is allowed to be who they are. Nobody is given the opportunity. There's a commercial on TV where the kids are talking about how much they love being themselves. You know, what a refreshing way to sell your product than focusing on the unique individuality, the difference, but the connectedness, the oneness of us all. The world is changing. The beliefs, the perspectives, the conditioning and programming is slowly shifting. And every time you change the way you see and experience the world around you, you are adding to that new way of being. All righty. I would invite you to give me a call at 773-897-6227. Again, that's 773-897-6227. Call, talk to me. Let me know what you're thinking. Are you using any of the tools and the techniques? Do they work in your world? If they don't, then let's talk about why they're not. 773-897-6227. So I wanted to continue today with going over and just remembering and reminding us of some of the things that we already know that we need to pay more attention to, shift our crystal, and focus on. What I am, my main objective is to give you the tools, different techniques that will assist you in becoming aware of your conditioning and programming, to give you the opportunity to choose if that's the way you still want to keep doing it or if it's not. And one of the main tools, I feel, is listening to how you communicate. Are you defending, blaming, explaining, justifying, or rationalizing any of your thoughts, feelings, or actions? If you are, you're going outside of yourself. You are not approving. You're not accepting. You're not giving yourself worth and value in some way, shape, or form. So you're trying to get it from someone else. People will give it to you, but there will always be a string attached. And usually that string is going to go to obligation, guilt, or jealousy. Those emotions will never return to the love because they don't come from the love. Meet your own needs. That is the most important thing you can do. Your needs are human. They're as natural and automatic to you as all of the organs in your body and the air you breathe. We have a right to have our needs met. They're not wrong. They're not bad. We're not less than because we have them. Again, we all want to be approved of, to be accepted, to be valued, to be comfortable, to be happy, to be stress-free. That's a natural part of being human. But when the world that we live in tells us that those things are bad or wrong, and that if we don't get them from somebody else, then we will never be able to have them or achieve that level of elite humanness, for lack of terminology. Another thing that we need to become more conscious of is no between expectation and expectancy. This is likened to my belief that our job is what and God's job is how. Expectancy is knowing something will happen. Expectation is locking into defining how it will happen. How it happens is not your job. Your job is to know that it will happen, whatever that expectancy is. If you stay focused in the possibility, the potential of that manifesting, the chances of it manifesting are 100% versus you logging into, how do I make this happen? It doesn't work that way. Your job is what? God's job is how. If you keep trying to do the how part, you're going to get yourself so tangled up in all the ifs, shoulds, coulds, and woulds that you're not even going to remember what your what was to begin with. So just let go. Detach from the outcome. I always ask, do you want your world created by your vision or by Creator's vision? I don't know about you, but I certainly want it created, my world manifesting through Creator's vision, not mine. Another tool is when you are experiencing struggle, strife, conflict, resistance, or pain, You are functioning under a false belief, and you are living either in the past or in the future. The only place we have any power is right now, in this moment. If we keep our attention focused in this moment, in today, the full day is the most of the future that we should be concerned with. But keep your attention focused in this moment. How is your world? Are you happy? Are you full? Are you sad? What is going on in this moment? And take the steps to deal with what's going on in this moment. Don't worry about what it used to be like, what you did in the past, how everybody acted then. It doesn't matter. It's done. It's gone. It cannot be changed except through this moment. And as you come into beliefs and truths of this moment, by going within and asking the question and taking responsibility for what you're thinking and feeling and believing, you can literally change your past. Because when you eliminate a false belief, the memories that you created through that filter of the false belief will shift. You won't be able to remember them the way you used to. And the more that you get into your truth and the further away from that false belief you become, the further away those memories are as well. You will remember them different. You will remember more positive. You will remember them through the filter of your truth as opposed to the filter of the false belief of the past. And you cannot have an effect or an influence on your future from your present. We're taught that we can, but by the same token, open your eyes and look around you and you can see that you're not. You know, you can plan for your 401ks and your retirement and everything else, but you can't predict what's going to happen in the financial market, what our government's going to do, what's going to crash and burn, what's not. So you can plan until you just can't plan anymore, and it still won't protect you and it won't be enough because your power is right now. Your time is in the moment. Create your world from this moment. And of course, I'm not saying don't have savings, don't do those kind of things. That's a given, that's just common sense. But don't get caught up in the things that you don't have any power over. What are you attached to? That is another big key for our conscious awareness is what are we attached to? What outcomes will we refuse to release? When do we let go and let Creator create the world for us? Any time that you make any person, place, thing, or situation more important than you make them an authority and you give your power away to them. You're looking to them to give you what you won't give to yourself. And as I've said many times before, they will absolutely give it to you, but there will be strings attached. And you will be controlled and manipulated until you, again, have the opportunity to take your power back. The universe is on our side. The guides, our angels, God, Creator, whatever, wants us to succeed, wants us to evolve, wants us to become more conscious. They are on our side. And when something seems like we're being tortured or punished, we're not. Shift the crystal. You are just being given another opportunity. This time you may be getting yelled at, whereas before it was just a whisper or a soft voice. If you're going to be presented with the easiest way to get it that is right for you, and if it doesn't work, you're going to be presented again with the easiest way for you to get it, but it's going to go up a notch or two because that now becomes the easiest way. You are already everything that you want to become. All you have to do is let go of the things that keep telling you that you're not those things. Once once a decision is made or the belief is established, that becomes your rule of action and your attitude or filter from that point on, regardless of whether you're aware of it or not. These tools, the uh, struggle, strive, conflict, resistance, and pain, or defending, justifying, blaming, explaining, those are tools to help you become conscious. If the way you are reacting to the situations and the people and the experiences in your life is bringing you love, joy, happiness, comfort, then keep doing it. And if it's not, then you need to look and see what is the constant theme in all of these situations. Most obvious answer is you. That's when you have to look within. What is going on? What am I trying to create in my life through other people that I'm not doing for myself? And remember, these are not big, deep, dark, hidden secrets. It's not like you've got to dig through, tons of rock or garbage or whatever to find them. These are just right there. You deal with them every day. But if you've got blinders on and they're just outside of your peripheral, you won't be able to see it. Take the blinders off. Allow what's on the peripheral to become more in focus. Pay attention. When you are in the charge of an emotion, you have to release the charge before you're going to be able to understand and manifest a solution. The charge of an emotion is simply the body's way of giving you the energy to act on the threats you feel. Whether it's real or imagined, there's no judgment. It's just what is. You have to use that energy to stay in balance. If you do, everything goes back to normal. You're fine. Everything's good. But if you don't use it, it sits in your body. And after a while, your body is going to seek its own balance. And it will seek that balance through accident, injury, illness, disease, or unusual behavior for you. And of course, the illness and the disease, these are progressive ways that your body is trying to get your attention. It will start with the simplest way first, because all it's trying to do is get your attention. Your higher self is trying to make you aware of something that you are thinking, believing, saying, or doing that is no longer serving you. And it uses your body to communicate that to you. That's why it's so important to have an awareness and an understanding of what the different parts of your body mean. It's not difficult. It's just a matter of shifting the crystal and paying attention just a little bit differently than what you have in the past. The issues that are in our face, we're going to deal with it. But even when the body hurts, that just simply means that while you were focused on the big issue, something got past you in the background. And I've used the analogy before. If you're watching a movie or a TV show, and the camera is focused on the actor or their face, there's still stuff going on in the background. Sometimes you get to watch the show a couple of times before you notice it. Well, it's the same way with the false beliefs that sneak by. While we're focused on the big thing that's in our face, the big issue, the little sucker sneaks by, and it's the one that's going to create havoc in our world. It's never, your physical manifestation or body reaction is never going to be a result of what's in your face and what you're dealing with. Of course, that's where everybody wants to go. Oh, yeah, I've been dealing with this for a couple of weeks now, or this is happening. No. Those are not the issues. What got by while you were so focused on that? That's what you want to look at. And also remember the 72-hour rule. From the moment that you feel a physical manifestation in your body, just stop, sit down, look at what that part of the body means, and go back 3 days. Replay those last 3 days, holding the question in mind. What am I reacting to? What is this message about? And as you begin to review the past 3 days, all of a sudden something's going to just be in your head. And when that something pops into your consciousness, you're going to feel the injury or the discomfort in your body respond to it. It'll either instantly quit hurting, it'll start hurting twice as much, or it'll just kind of vibrate. Once you get the message, there is no longer a need for your body to hurt as long as you do the work. You've gotten the message from your higher self. That is allowing your body to release the excess energy that you are holding. It's that simple. All righty. To those of you who may just be joining us, you're listening to Easy Knowing, and I'm Sherie Kennedy. I invite you to participate by calling 773-897-6227. That's 773-897-6227. So pick up the phone. Give yourself permission to call and to share. I'd love to know how this information is assisting you. If you have anything that you would like for me to expand on, do you want to talk more about in certain areas or issues? Pick up the phone and call. You're the one that it's important to, but yet you're going to share with the world information that they wouldn't get without your call. 773-897-6227. So when you allow any of your false beliefs to control you through your lack of awareness, Spirit is going to let you know by manifesting that accident, injury, illness, disease, or pain in that area of the body. Stubbing your toe, cutting your finger, walking through a doorway and suddenly the wall moved and you hit the side of it. All of those are ways your body is communicating with you. Suddenly your tummy hurts, you're getting a headache, or some other part of your body is feeling discomfort. Don't ignore it. Don't dismiss it. Just simply ask, what is the message of this pain or this injury or this discomfort? You cannot get an answer to a question you do not ask. Not only does this allow you to practice asking questions, it also allows you the opportunity to get better at listening to how your higher self communicates with you. And there's not going to be two of us that are going to have it the same way. Yes, there's going to be many people who are clairaudient, many people who are clairvoyant, many people who are clairsentient. But every single one, they will receive their information that is right for them. And that's what's important. Learn how you hear your own self. This is a joint effort. You are a spiritual being having a human experience. Your spirit is your pilot in a sense. Your ego is your co-pilot. Both are extremely necessary for functioning in this realm, especially at this time, because we are walking between worlds. We are evolving. Whether you believe it, whether you like it, doesn't change the fact that it's happening. So use this information, use these tools. Don't play victim. None of us are victims. We don't get to choose the book that Creator is teaching us the lessons that we asked to learn. That's not ours. We get to pay attention to how we're feeling about it, knowing that everything that is coming into our world, whether it is affecting us directly or indirectly, holds a message for us individually. That's what's so very important to everything that we're talking about. Excuse me. You have to also lock into your head that we are not our experiences. Our experiences are what's outside of us, what is happening to us. How we feel, how we perceive that is based on our beliefs about the experiences that were happening. As I've used the analogy before, a book is simply the experience, the situation, or the circumstance that we are being presented with to learn a lesson that we have come here to learn. And the lessons are all tied up in meeting our own needs, in believing who we are, letting go of the false beliefs. That's what it's all about. You have to come into love of self. You cannot give to anyone else what you are not giving to you. And you cannot receive anything from anyone else more than what you hold it for yourself. Now think about that. Look around at your world, your friends, the people you know. Are the ones that are the loneliest, the saddest, the most miserable, the most ill? Do they love themselves? Are they letting themselves be loved? Do they really have worth and value? Remember, we will do anything to meet our needs. And that includes breaking any moral, social law to make that happen. If our need for attention and the feeling of being important is so great that the only way we have discovered to get that need met is through an illness, then that person with that need is going to hang on to that illness with everything they've got, because the fear of living without the attention or the feelings of being important or approval is way greater than what anything that the illness or the disease could present. Now think about that. Is it really so hard to love who you are, to believe that you really are a beautiful, radiant, rare, and precious cosmic miracle, that you're the only one of you there is, and so is everyone else? You can meet somebody else's need for them 10 times over whenever you've met it for yourself. When you approve of yourself, when you're happy within you, you can be happy with everybody else. You can give them attention and approval and acceptance and worth and value just by the smile on your face that's coming from your heart, lighting up your eyes. You could have that same smile, but if it's not coming from the heart, there's no light behind the eyes. It's not genuine. There's no energy behind it. Because you can't give to someone else what you don't have. And if you don't have it, then you go into fear. Because all of the tools that we've been given do not address these issues. All of the conditioning and programming that has been crammed down our throat. And mind you, most of it is nonverbal. Doesn't give us permission to be who we are. Doesn't teach us of our own worth and value. And if it does, we speak with forked tongues, so to speak, because if you come from a loving and caring environment where you are honored and valued and given and your needs are met and you're taught how to meet your own, and you go out into the world, you're not going to receive that same kind of acceptance if you don't continue to stay in your own truth meeting your own needs. Person who's never grown up with that feeling of acceptance, approval, they go out into the world and it's just a self-fulfilling prophecy because the world reflects back to them exactly what they have been taught it's supposed to be. So it creates this vicious cycle. Becoming aware is what the spiritual awakening is all about. You know, it's not like you wake up some morning and you've been tapped on the head with the magic wand or Michael's sword or whatever. This is something that you make a choice within yourself to decide. The way things are going doesn't feel good. I'm not happy. I'm not attracting the kind of people into my life that I want to have. So what do you need to do to change that? Your what is meeting your own needs. Your what is getting out of judgment. Your what is learning to receive all of the gifts, the blessings, the joys, the lessons through the eyes of love, through knowing that you're not a victim, that nothing is being done to you, but everything is being done for you from the universal perspective. Everything just is. It's what we do with it that makes it good or bad or right or wrong. We are so conditioned to the violence and to the anger and the hatred and the separation that it just never occurs to us to look at it from a different perspective until that feeling within starts making its presence known and you find that you can no longer tolerate it. You can't watch the violent movies. You can't watch on TV the things that are detrimental to humanity, the things that create the feelings within of fear, of anger, of hatred. And my challenge to you is to, let it go. Step out of that. It's going to be there. If you want to step back in, you absolutely got the right to. But step out for a minute. See what it's like. What does your world look like? Who are you? And how do you experience and express when you're not in the fear, when you're not in anger and hate and racism and bigotry? What does it look like? What does it feel like to have those experiences in your world? All righty. I'm taking another little break here and giving you an opportunity to call in. The number is 773-897-6227. That's 773-897-6227. And I would also invite you to go to my website at easyknowing.com. I have a lot of my teachings. The tools are listed. There are 7 of the tools that are listed. You can listen to the website, to the audio, create your center, go into the meditation, and then listen and then watch the video that shows you what to do with it. There's a lot of different, a lot more information, a lot of detail on my website. And you can also hear other people's journeys, how they have shared their stories and experiences. And if you find it in your heart, make a donation, support the effort. When you feel fear, there is one really important thing to ask yourself. In this situation, what is it I do not trust? Again, asking the question is so important. Every time that you compromise yourself, you're giving a piece of yourself away. And hear this, please. There is no right or wrong or good or bad. There are only choices and consequences. We have to start changing our vocabulary and the way that we speak to each other, the way that we share, and start using terminology and verbalizations that empower us, that actually share. Share our experience, share your story, share how you came to be who you are, how you came to understand what you understand. Nothing is good or bad or right or wrong. You didn't screw up, you didn't make any mistakes. You just had an experience. And if it worked, you learned, you grew, you evolved. If it didn't work, then you learned what didn't work and you're going to get another opportunity. There is no punishment. There is no good or bad or right or wrong. Shift your crystal, change the belief that keeps you holding on to that false belief. Okay, phone lines are still open. I invite you to give me a call, 773-897-6227. So remember, whatever it is that you want, you can have. But you first got to decide that you want it. Give yourself permission to have it and be willing to learn and evolve from it. Because the reality is the minute that we have a thought, the chemistry is produced within us to carry it out. It's just like every time that our survival is threatened, the energy is produced in our body to give us the ability to deal with the threat. Everything is about a choice. And the reason that I harp on, in a sense, the asking questions is that our guides cannot intervene, because that's what this life, this adventure we're on is all about. It's free will and free choice. They cannot intervene, even if they know that we're going down a dangerous and rocky road, unless we ask, unless we ask for the assistance or ask the questions to give us clarity. You must ask a question before you can ever receive the answer. And if you want to change the situation in your life, you have to change your attitude toward it. You have to change the beliefs that it's filtered through. And I used the analogy previously. Visualize your belief system as this beautiful, magnificent forest. Most of the trees and flora in your forest is magnificent and beautiful and healthy and strong. But we all have trees in our forest that are past their time, they're dead, they're old, they're crowding out the new growth, the new trees that are trying to take root. And our belief systems are the same way. Most of the beliefs we hold are beautiful, they're wonderful, they're self-affirming and self-fulfilling, honoring, respectful, compassionate, kind. We are a very loving species at heart. But the false beliefs, those gnarly trees that just need to be removed, is equivalent to the false beliefs. Now, this is a great, big, huge forest, and there is absolutely no way that you are going to be able to sit down and say, what are my false beliefs? I need to know what they are so that I can change them. It doesn't happen that way. And the reason that it doesn't happen that way is because the false beliefs, our conditioning and programming, is through ego. And a long time ago, ego, even though its training and designation was co-pilot, ended up with a ring. And all ego knew to do was to keep us safe. And from ego's perspective, very limited and ignorant perspective, it discerned that the way to keep us safe was to keep us in the box, to keep us feeling, saying, thinking, and doing like everybody else. And if we ever tried not to do that, then ego would create havoc in our world. So ego, through its misguided perspective, is trying to keep us safe in the only way that it knew how. Well, as the energies are vibrating and we are getting more and more conscious and becoming more and more aware, Spirit is waking up. And Spirit's going, okay, what's going on here? And it looks around and sees what's been happening and says, thank you, ego, for doing what you did. However, we need to change course. We need to get back on the right track, get out of the conditioning and programming, become who we truly are. Remember that we're spiritual beings having a human experience. So the more that your higher self, your spirit self, wakes up, the more that you are going to feel like you're on your true path, that you're doing what you really came here to do. Be kind to ego. Ego's not the enemy. Ego just didn't understand what it was trying to do. And because the energies prevented Spirit from being consciously aware, from waking up until it has, that was all that ego knew to do. So be gentle, be loving, be kind, be compassionate, understanding, especially when you're dealing with your ego. Your ego is not the bad guy. Nobody is. Through lack of awareness, through misunderstanding, things didn't go exactly the way they were, quote, planned in a sense, unquote, but they went the way that they needed to be. It's given us all an opportunity to understand what we know different, to wake up, to make different choices. The more aware you become, the more you really like it. You know, when you first start waking up and start becoming aware, it's a pretty scary thing because you don't know how people are going to react to you when you're not the way you've always been. You don't know whether you're going to be more of an outcast, you're going to be embraced. And of course, our fear is that it's going to be 10 times worse than what it's already been. Well, we've learned how to deal with what it is. And rocking the boat or the possibility of it being worse is just not someplace we want to go. And that fear in and of itself will keep us from going down that path. We don't have the point of reference for it getting better, in a sense. So it never occurs to us to think about that. And, you know, it's one of... an analogy I can give you to that is I was talking with a dear astrologer friend of mine, numerologist actually, and asking about the energies as far as starting to show and manifesting it in its highest and greatest good. And so he comes back and he says, well, you're in a 1 year, so the first would be, you know, any date that adds up to a 1 is going to be a really, really good time for you to start the show. So, you know, I'm all caught up. I'm not thinking. He gave me 3 dates. Well, 2 of them were too far out and 1 was too close. So without even paying attention, I sent him back an email and said, is there another date? These aren't going to work. He sends me back because one of the dates was the 1st. He sends me back an email saying the 10th. And it was like, well, duh, I knew that, but it just didn't occur to me. And that's the way it is with a lot of things that we're going through. If we just stop and think for a moment, turn our heads to the left if we're always going to the right. See what's on that side. Don't be afraid of it. Don't be afraid to think, to expand the boundaries that you set for yourself. You know, we talked a few weeks back about the giving ourselves permission, you know, to experience our life, to change our mind, to do what we want to do. And it's one of those double-edged swords in the sense that, you know, we grow up and everything that we do, we have to have permission, no matter what it is, what we wear, what we eat, what we do, where we go, everything is with permission until we reach this magical age of 18. And then all of a sudden, we're legal. We don't have to have anybody's permission. Of course, we never think about, from that age perspective, we never think about the social permissions. And we get out in the world and, we want to go here and we want to go there and we want to do this. And it's fine and fun as long as it stays within our comfort zone of, oh, sure, my friends want to go out. Yeah, I'll go out with my friends and blah, blah, blah. And, you don't think about it as giving yourself permission. But that's really what it boils down to. When does the fear step in? Is it always there? Are you just becoming aware of it? Or have you already embraced it and resolved the issues that it creates? Making fear your best friend is one of the greatest, most positive, and beneficial moves you can make. Fear is an awesome friend, but it is a terrifying non-friend. When it's chasing you down the alley and got you by the throat, got your tummy, it is not fun at all. But when you turn around, when you face that fear, when you embrace that fear, it becomes a really, really good best friend, because then it supports you, it warns you, it keeps you focused. It's a guidance system. So again, it's not good or bad or right or wrong. It's just what we do with it. Whatever it is, it just is. And if you have a need for whatever reason to always find the negative, to always find what's wrong with it, or why you can't do it, or why it won't work, stop. Take a deep breath, shift the crystal, and then come up with a way that it will work, that it can happen. Okay, so you think you're making it up. Well, you're supposed to, because the only way to go within is playing pretend. Remember, ego thinks that you got to stay in the box, and in the box you can't go within. That's a no-no. That's not what the higher round, the powers that be want. But that's actually where all of our power is, all of our answers. Everything is within. There is nothing external. It's all within. All we're doing is manifesting externally what is happening within. And that's another good tool to use. What are you manifesting? What does your world look like? Because what you are thinking, believing, saying, and doing is what in the past is what you're experiencing in the present. And if you want it to be different in your future, then you have to change the present. You have to do it different in this moment. That's what it's all about. Shift the crystal. Perspective is everything. And get rid of judgment. Removing judgment is the key. Open your hearts and your minds to the being standing next to you, regardless of what color their skin is, whether it's purple, green, pink, or polka dots, black, white, yellow, green, blue, or turquoise. It doesn't matter. The heart is life. The heart is love. Focus on what is there, not what you're afraid of. Give yourself the opportunity to experience your own heart. Meet your own needs. Be loving and kind to you. And it will automatically follow that you will be loving and kind to others. You go, well, I'm just judging myself. I'm not judging other people. Well, honey, you cannot judge yourself without judging other people, because all judgment is based on comparison. And if you are judging yourself, whether it quietly or inwardly, you are comparing. You need to shift what you're comparing yourself to. Whose ideal are you living? Whose world are you residing in? If you like it, stay there. Enhance it, make it better. And if you don't like it, change it. You have everything within you to do so. You just have to give yourself permission to. And know that you're the only one who can. And please hear me. No one has your answers but you. All anyone else can do is help you find them. Do not give your power away to your belief in your lack of awareness, your lack of knowledge, your own ignorance. Change it. Recognize it for what it is and then take acts to make it different. There is no place in there for judgment to make it good or bad or right or wrong. It simply is what is. So look at what you want in your life. Look at how you want to experience and express. Judging is a habit. And when you just accept what is, and you learn to discern whether something serves you or not, whether it is to your highest good or not, that is different than judging. You want to be in discernment. That's your intelligence at work. That's your experiences. Discerning that it is not to my highest good to go out in a blizzard without a coat or shoes. That's discernment. Discerning that if I step in front of that truck, it's going to hurt. But there is no need to judge, to make it good or bad or right or wrong. There is every need to discern, to make a choice, but choose to the highest good. Choose from the positive perspective. And apply forgiveness. And the forgiveness is to yourself. Like I said, we always judge ourselves 10 times worse than we judge anybody else. We have to forgive ourselves because you cannot forgive anyone else if you're not forgiving of you. And you may say, oh, well, I don't have anything to forgive myself. Or, oh, yeah, you do. If you need to forgive someone else, you absolutely need to forgive you. And you're not going to be able to forgive anyone else if you don't forgive yourself first. And it's not about a good or bad or right or wrong. We hold judgments against ourselves because we were born, because we have brown hair and brown eyes instead of blue hair and blonde eyes. I mean, the stupid things that we judge ourselves on are really ridiculous when you stop and think about it. But that's part of the problem, is that we don't stop and think about it. So that's my challenge to you this time. Stop and think about how you want your world and manifest that. So I'm very disappointed that we didn't get to hear from anyone today, but I thank you for tuning in, and I hope that in the future you will find it in your heart to pick up the phone and give us a call, share your stories, ask questions, or even let me know a topic that you would like to hear more information on. You can also go to my website and send me a message through there, and that's easyknowing.com. So until next week, follow your heart song and paint the world with the colors of your soul. Bye-bye.
When you don't go to Geico.com, car insurance can be confusing. Like Swedish techno confusing.
Bark, bark, meow, meow. Dance with me, purple cow. Bark, bark, meow, meow. Ooh, you lovely cow.
Geico makes it easy. With 24/7 access, all you have to do is go to Geico.com and you could save money on car insurance. It just makes sense. Unlike,
Dance with me, purple cow. I like your move.